After the big Disney ABC News debate debacle, they're firing people inside the news division in October before a presidential election. And we thought, well, that's strange. What's going on? So we began to look at other news organizations to see how they're performing. And guess what? We found out that what's going on at ABC and Disney is more than a little strange. It's downright bizarre. We'll show you what we've seen, and you cannot unsee it anymore. Hello folks, and happy Friday. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we are bringing sanity to an insane world. Explaining entertainment is our job. Keeping you ahead of the culture curve, that's what we do. And guess what? We've got Lou. It's LW Ghost. He's back with us, and he is quite the expert when it comes to all things entertainment and Hollywood. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Anyway.
Well, Lou, you have a storied career in Hollywood, and I don't believe you've ever worked for news stations or news divisions.
I've worked with a lot of news people. I got involved with a show that was an international broadcast, and the people doing it were all network news people. So and also, but you have also worked for shows that have been on ABC without going into kind of specificity. Oh yeah,
you've worked a ton with ABC. So
ABC, CBS, NBC, all those guys.
All right, folks. We don't give away Lou's identity. Just know he's been around, and he's made the stories of the past decades. All right, this is a story for sure, folks. This is going straight into that situation with the debate that so many people have been very interested in which the moderators acted very oddly. Perhaps you might say that CBS has taken some of the heat off of ABC. But the audience out there, the consumers, don't seem to agree. We'll show you why. Click the like button. Here we go. Out of Variety, it says Disney layoffs will affect 75 staffers at ABC News and local stations. Folks, by the end of this video, you're going to see that ABC is not moving in the normal trajectory. This is not normal. There is no way this is normal. We'll show you why. This one's by Brian Steinberg. It says approximately 75 staffers in Disney's ABC News and local station operations will be laid off, part of a series of moves across the large media conglomerate that aim to cut costs amid a difficult operating environment. Pause, folks. I need to tell you, this is insane. I just want you all to understand this is insane. We are in the October prior to the most contentious election I have ever seen in my lifetime. And I suspect, unless you were alive at the time of Abraham Lincoln, you probably haven't seen a more contentious election. And you're telling me that it is a difficult operating environment in the news media in the October before the election. Lou, this should be like the Super Bowl of all Super Bowls for every single news organization out there. And yet Disney, which we're all supposed to believe is just a darling of all the mainstream out there, Disney is firing people in their news division. What in the world is going on? This is like yanking your all-stars, when you're playing in the World Series.
Pickens put it in Blazing Saddles. What in the wild, wild world of sports is going on here?
It doesn't make sense.
Contribution to the culture. Because folks understand something. Regardless of whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Green, a Red, a Blue, politics is programming, and people watch it, even when they don't watch the sitcoms and the hour-longs and the soap operas. And therefore, it's advertising revenue.
Right.
This is to overall advertising revenue what the Olympics for a couple of weeks every 4 years is to a tire and razor commercials.
Yeah, well, an entire network is lifted by this, and yet Disney is down. We saw in the video that we did yesterday morning that David Muir, who was one of the moderators of the debate, his big show, ABC News, World News Tonight, is down 12%. Of the week after the debate. Year to year, it's down 5%, but that hasn't yet taken into account these post-debate ratings. So Disney, folks, you might think that they did a dandy of a job when it came to the debate. You might think they did a terrible job. The bottom line is, at a time when everything is pushing their ratings to go up, the ratings are going down. And this is not normal. I'll show you how abnormal this is. Over on X, the place that was formerly called Twitter until Elon freed it, from Tim Pool at Timcast, says this month, We are up 110,000 subscribers. We were featured on YouTube's live page. We hit 93,000 concurrent viewers and averaged some of our highest live numbers. It's been an epic month. Thank you, everyone. It really is incredible. Timcast, which is Tim Pool, covers the news. And guess what? Timcast is doing pretty darn well because it's the September and October before a huge election. Who'd have thought? Folks, continue right along. Take a look at this. We're over here on a site called Social Blade. You can use this to look up the viewership of any of your favorite YouTube channels. The Megyn Kelly Show, all right? And Tim Pool, by the way, was at one point a libertarian, a classical liberal. I'm not sure where he is now, maybe somewhere in the middle. Megyn Kelly is the one who made Donald Trump so unhappy and his campaign unhappy, 8 years ago with the question about Rosie O'Donnell. So I don't think that we're not picking folks, channels specifically for partisan reasons is what I'm trying to say. But look at this, Lou, 104 million views in the last 30 days for Megyn Kelly. That's up 34%, up 34%. We just saw the Tim Pool stuff. Megyn Kelly up 34% in views. Why? Because it's the September and October before an election. Well, Lou, would you like to know how things are going for ABC, not only in their ratings, which are down 12%, apparently, according to Fox News? Well, on YouTube, it's even worse. On YouTube, in the same months that Megyn Kelly is skyrocketing, the same months that Tim Pool is exploding, ABC News is down 15.9%. We'll call it 16%. ABC News down 16% at a time when there's just no way to drop, and yet they're dropping. And I have a theory here, Lou, and I want you tell me what you think about it. Not only do I think that the debate damaged Disney and ABC and Dana Walden and everybody else involved in it, but I also think that it has hastened the exit of audiences, of average Americans who are going away from the legacy corporate media, and they're seeking out their news from places such as this channel, but even far more so places like Tim Pool and Megyn Kelly, the All In podcast. If you're on the left side, you might be going to the Young Turks, but people are going to other places to get their news. I think this has hastened the extinction of corporate news media. Lou, what do you say?
Well, a couple things. First, you had a pretty good month.
Not bad,
you broke a record. Yeah. So the idea that it's universal for non-corporate news sources is true, without a doubt. Secondly, there's a very definite difference to what's happened to ABC compared to even people were not too thrilled with the moderators and questioners on anything else involving this election. The difference is this whistleblower. And here's what I mean. The whistleblower, in case you're not aware, somebody has come forward anonymously so far, claiming that they have proof in the form of audio recordings and other evidence that the fix was in, that these simultaneous fact checks that were promised not to happen, that happened anyway with Mr. Muir and ABC, were planned in advance, were planned in cahoots with the Harris campaign, and that it was all, the fix was in.
And by the way, Lou, I'll just say, Disney, well, David Muir and Lindsay Davis, it's pretty much been confirmed now because Lindsay Davis told Los Angeles Times that they did these rehearsals and that the reason they did them was prevent another situation like the CNN debate.
And remember,
but the whistleblower, whether or not we get the audio tapes,
right,
it really doesn't even matter anymore because they just came out and said, here's what we did.
The reason why that makes the Disney thing different is this. Any of these anchors, there's a popular meme running around saying in the old days, Walter Cronkite never showed his bias. You just trusted him. Well, yeah, he did show his bias, and there's plenty of instances recorded, but he was good at it and kept it seemingly neutral. Well, it's one thing if an individual personality or an anchor person does. But when it looks like the entire corporation has fixed it in advance, excuse me, hell hath no fury like an audience dissed. And at that point, people start saying, oh, really? Well, then I don't care if it's David Muir or whoever they get to replace him. I'm not going to go there anymore. And when the advertisers get wind of that, they say, well, maybe I should advertise my widget somewhere else. In other words, when it becomes not an individual instance or a personal statement, but a corporate policy, you got trouble, gang. You got serious trouble.
I'll tell you the other thing too, Lou.
If I can compare it to one other thing before you go further.
Yes.
Lots of people, when we've had all of this turnover in cable and in streaming, they didn't realize until some of these political issues about ABC and Disney came about. Lots and lots and lots and lots of sports fans who watched their favorite teams on ESPN didn't realize until the news came out that maybe $8, $9 a month of their payment for their bundle, for their cable or streaming package, was ESPN, and that money was Disney's. But once they found out, wow, subscriptions dropped. People turn on the television. Naturally, you do, I do, to be entertained or informed or whatever, but not to say, well, if you watch this one, you're technically contributing money and certainly your viewership to their ads to a company that has stated social, sexual, political, religious policies counter to your own. And people are perfectly okay with the freedom of speech that those companies or individuals have to say things. But when they are what they think is surreptitiously or unknowingly suckered into helping to pay for it, Katie bar the door.
The other thing, Lou, is I think this has exposed that whether it's ABC or CBS or NBC, they don't have any moderates. They don't have any people in the middle. They just have people on one end of the spectrum, and that's causing them to be unable to connect with the broader spectrum of Americans out there who have mainstream views. And these people are unable to get their blinders off. And so when you have such a skewed newsroom with so many people who live in a very, very specific bubble, well, it causes big problems. And the big problems are now financial. And that's why you're seeing these terminations.
But it also means once upon a time, if somebody at a meeting, the monthly meeting, the proverbial office meeting, said, hey, guys, we all like Party X. Why don't we make a deal with them to give their guy a break in this upcoming debate? Somebody would have said, we'd love to. It's great, but we have an obligation to our shareholders, to our audience, and to our financial bottom line not to get caught doing that. And there's no way we can do it that sooner or later we're not going to get caught. Forget it. Now, when, as you say, they don't have anybody representing the other side on the team, in the campus, who's going to tell them no?
Right.
Who's going to tell them it's a bad idea? Nobody.
That's a great point.
There's the famous story, and it's been attributed to several people, but as far as I know, it was Pauline Kael, the famous movie critic in New York, who, when Reagan won in a huge landslide, won every state but one, won an electoral college vote beyond belief, the next morning, reading the results, said, I don't understand it. Nobody I know voted for Reagan. Well, that's a true story. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was mystified, literally. And these people at Disney, a lot of them, I'm sure, are mystified that anybody would have a problem with it because they just don't know any better. They don't have any ethical grounding.
The ratings and the viewership on YouTube, because remember, YouTube is the biggest streaming platform on the earth. And the ratings in cable they matter, but the YouTube views matter as well. All of it together is a decline. And that decline is, by the way, running parallel with a decline in revenues, one could only assume, because less views means less advertising. And so, Lou, I want to show this. This is the last article I want to show folks out there as we just say, there's a cost to this. This is an article out of Disney Plus Press. Just take a look at this. It says, this is back from August 6th. I wanted people to see what they were trying to do versus what worked and what didn't work. Disney Plus to introduce continuous playlists in U.S. subscription offerings. It says, Disney Plus announced today, back on August 6th, It is adding continuous playlists to its core subscription on-demand offering in the U.S. beginning September 4th. ABC News Live and a playlist focused on preschool content will debut, etc. It says, this is really important down here, okay? This paragraph. Ahead of the 2024 presidential election, all Disney Plus subscribers will have access to ABC News Live, a 24/7 multi-award-winning premium streaming news channel for live newscasts, breaking news, live events, and in-depth special reports. In other words, they attempted to use, for financial gain, obviously, they attempted to use the presidential debate and ABC News' coverage of it, putting that as their debut special news stream system that they have on Disney Plus. They attempted to use that to revivify their news division at a time when other news organizations are exploding, and it backfired. That is amazing. And that goes to show that if you corrupt your system enough, there is no amount of gimmickry, there is no amount of tricks, there's no amount of technical wizardry that you can pull off that will fix when you send your audience away by betraying their trust.
Because they say to themselves, if they can lie to me on the politics channel, why won't they lie to my kids on the kiddie channel that was next mentioned? Why won't they lie on any of the other ones? There's that allegedly mafia phrase, the fish rots from the head. Well, if you blatantly disregard the audience by telling them that you're going to lie to them, they're not going to think you're just going to lie on the news. They're going to think you're going to lie on the next MCU show or anything else. And then when there's so many bad shows out there, in other words, again, it's very impactful that this is happening during political season, because that's normally the networks wait around for 4 years for that to come, because that's when we get, what do they call it? Black Thursday or Friday in Christmas shopping season.
Black
the
Friday,
one day so the day that puts you back in the positive side of the ledger. That's what the elections are for newsrooms.
Oh, what a great point. What a great point. They screwed up their Black Friday by only allowing certain customers to come in the store.
By letting it get out that it was a corporate policy to play games with something that most Americans, regardless of their politics, consider something pretty sacred, which is our free and fair elections.
And folks, we're here to tell you, you can like Trump or you can like Harris. You can hate either, or both. We're not here to tell you who to vote for. We are here to say, folks, that the pragmatic results in the marketplace have not went positively for Disney. And I think we've conclusively shown that. Also, folks, we cannot tell you that the Whistleblower is, in fact, bringing the goods or that they're going to release anything extra. We can just tell you that some of the allegations they made were later, in our estimation, corroborated, and that's our opinion. And we've brought that forth now over the last 3 or 4 weeks, following it where it leads.
And if during the last 3 or 4 years, Disney had been a picture of ethical, sterling, golden behavior, and if they had had charges of other kinds successfully refuted and defended themselves, you wouldn't be in a position where, considering all the other stuff that's gone on there, I'm not surprised that this happened.
Exactly.
In other words, people don't believe things just because you say them. But if you say if you say, you know what, guys with funny mustaches are bad people, people can say, come on, what are you talking about? And then you start making a list of all those funny mustache guys in world history. People are at least willing to say, well, maybe. And someday when the funny mustache guy marches into Poland, people are angry, but they're not surprised.
Lou, you've caused every person out there with a mustache to go to the mirror quickly to go, wait a minute, do I have a funny looking mustache?
No.
Do I have a funny? No, folks, you're Fu Manchu. It looks wonderful. We promise. All right.
Oh, there's another one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this video. Another video of excellence in the can. We hope that you enjoyed, and we hope that we played it down the middle as best as we can.
And one last thing.
Yes, Lou. Yes.
One of the people you mentioned at the beginning, Megyn Kelly, whose show I watch because it's a great show and she's a great hostess and she gets interesting people. When this thing first came out with the Whistleblower, she was so outraged. She said, listen, if this turns out to be verified, if this turns out to be true, if they really did this, that's not just the end of ABC News. That's the end of ABC and Disney, and you can sell off the pieces to somebody else. It could be that devastating. And that's when I joked on one of your other shows that, remember when Bob said he was going to maybe get rid of linear TV? It may be that the one linear channel he gets rid of is not by selling it, but by suicide.
Well,
and that's ABC News.
To review, folks, real quick, the whistleblower alleged that there was collusion behind the scenes. What we do know is, according to Lindsay Davis, that they practiced fact-checking and that the motivation behind it was to prevent another CNN debate result where Trump won that debate. I mean, how could you say otherwise? The other candidate dropped out. Mm-hmm. And so that was the motivation. They did indeed practice it. We now know that was a break in the rules that had been agreed to. And there are some other pieces that we have not had corroborated yet. We don't know that they reached out to the Harris campaign behind the scenes, and we don't know about sample questions. We don't have the audio files either, but we've got plenty in those other two things that we talked about that are very fascinating. It's also been fascinating to watch Disney not give a highly specific, what would you say, counter statement to what's been said, a denial. Folks, we can't deny those.
If you own the only toy store in town and you lose money at Christmas, something's going wrong.
Something's going wrong. And we'll show it one more time as we get ready to wrap, folks. Here's the difference. Look at that drop. All right, folks. One thing we can't deny, we need you to click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, remember, all through this weekend, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Clickbait, fraud, drama queen. Ugh. I wish there was a channel that was 5 to 6 minute news reads without the drama, frauds, and clickbait that could accurately let me know the current news, providing my crucial context utilizing all the different That Park Place contributors and creators.
Well, stupid. There is. It's the That Park Place YouTube channel, which will be going live real soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you can really stick it to the algorithms.
You're joking.
Nope.
Oh, nice.